So the Lord took his life too. Man, two sons gone, two brothers. One was wicked, the other one just wasn't being obedient. Man. And even though that first brother was wicked, the second one still had to follow the rules too. Okay, then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, go back to your parents' home and remain a widow until my son Shelah is old enough to marry you. So, okay, this is the third son that was born. He ain't old enough. She ain't on no R. Kelly stuff, so they wasn't allowing that. He told her to just go and get up out of there and go home. I'll send him to you when he's ready. But Judah didn't really intend to do this because he was afraid Shelah would also die like his two brothers. Okay. So Tamar went back to live in her father's home. Some years later, Judah's wife died. After the time of mourning was over, Judah and his friend Hira, the Adullamite, went up to Timnah to supervise the shearing of the sheep. Someone told Tamar, look, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear the sheep. Tamar was aware that Shelah had grown up, but no arrangements had been made for her to come and marry him. So, I mean, women smart, you know what I'm saying? They know what's going on. She knew enough time had passed. She ain't got no word from him, but she wasn't stressing, but she knew what was going on. So she changed out of her widow's clothes and covered herself with a veil to disguise herself. Then she sat beside the road at the entrance of the village of Anam, which is on the road to Timnah. Judah noticed her and thought she was a prostitute since she had her face covered. So he stopped and propositioned her. Let me have sex with you, he said, not realizing that she was his own daughter-in-law. So, okay, his wife done died. He ain't got remarried. Don't know if it's been a while what's going on, but he see this prostitute. He out of town. I guess he was on some what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas stuff. So he out of town. He like, let me knock her off real quick, handle my business, and get back. How much will you pay me to have sex with me? Tamar asked. I'll send you a young goat from my flock, Judah promised. But what will you give me to guarantee that you will send me the goat, she asked. Smart woman, you know. She wasn't about to let him get him for the okie doke. What kind of guarantee do you want, he replied. She answered, leave me your identification seal and its cord and the walking stick you are carrying. So Judah gave them to her. And my boy was like, I ain't even worried about walking. You can have this stick as long as I can, well, yeah. Then he had intercourse with her, and she became pregnant. Plot twist. After she went back home, took off her veil, and put on her widow's clothing as usual. Later, Judah asked his friend Hira, the Adullamite, to take the young goat to the woman to pick up the things he had given her as a guarantee. So he like, you know, take what I said, get my stuff back, and bring it back. But Hira couldn't find her. So he asked the men who lived there, where can I find the shrine prostitute who was sitting beside the road at the entrance of Enam? We've never had a shrine prostitute here, they replied. So Hira returned to Judah and told him, I couldn't find her anywhere, and the men of the village claimed they've never had a shrine prostitute there, which, trust me, the men would know if they had a shrine prostitute. Then let her keep the things I gave her, Judah said. I sent the young goat as we agreed, but you couldn't find her. We'd be the laughing stock of the village if we went back again looking for her. Yeah, you going back and running around looking for a whore that don't exist, you will look pretty foolish. About 3 months later, Judah was told, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has acted like a prostitute, and now because of this, she's pregnant. Bring her out and let her be burned, Judah demanded. Woo! She been doing stuff she wasn't supposed to do, huh? Having sex without being married. He wants her burned. Interesting. But as they were taking her out to kill her, she sent this message to her father-in-law. The man who owns these things made me pregnant. Look closely. Whose seal and cord and walking stick are these? Judah recognized them immediately and said, she is more righteous than I am because I didn't arrange for her to marry my son Shelah. And Judah never slept with Tamar again. Man, hey, women slick, man. Sometimes you be thinking you're trying to get them for the okie doke, but they really get you. Matter of fact, in the words of the immortal Tupac, thought I had her, but she got me in the long run. Like women are smart. When they really want to tune in, and they'll get you, especially men when you thinking about some other stuff, your mind ain't right. You will be easily duped. But anyway, I digress. When the time came for Tamar to give birth, it was discovered that she was carrying twins. While she was in labor, one of the babies reached out his hand. The midwife grabbed it and tied a scarlet string around the child's wrist, announcing, this one came out first. But then he pulled back his hand and came his brother first. What? The midwife exclaimed. How did you break out first? So she named him Perez. Breakout. Okay. Then the baby with the scarlet string on his wrist.